But first, the Hot House Flowers have been described as a rock and roll band, a traditional band, a soul band, an Irish band. They're all of those and more.
It's been 30 years since the Hot House Flowers debut album came out. It hit #1 on the Irish charts within a week. This weekend, the Hot House Flowers frontman Liam O Maonlai is performing solo in Maine.
Bono once described him as, quote, the best white boy soul singer in the world. We sat down with Liam O Maonlai today at the studio in Portland and talked about how old he was when he got started with music as a little boy.
Well, there was a piano in our house. It was a black thing with white keys and this thing in the corner, and I was drawn to it. And I'd pick up little things from people. So I don't really know how young, but you know, as soon as I could walk, I was drawn to this thing.
What was the first song you could really play? The standard. What was the first song you could play that you were really proud of, where you really thought, wow, I'm pretty good stuff?
Oh yeah, I put this in. I just saw a babysitter did this. You know, just that little, and that gave me a buzz. You know, it gave me it.
Did you have a lot of lessons when you were growing up, or did you just were you drawn to it yourself and sort of learned a lot yourself?
Is from watching people and picking up tricks, really picking up tricks, and then because I'm a traditional based musician, that had a lot to do with my understanding of music. And I play the whistle as well. I started that when I was about 9.
My feeling is that for most of us, the music that we like when we're young, 8, 9, 10 years old, has an enormous influence on us the rest of our lives in terms of our musical tastes. When you were that age, 8, 9, 10 years old, what were you listening to? What did you like?
What was going on? Well, as I say, I'm born into a country that has a colonial history, and therefore it has an indigenous history. And my father was really interested in our native culture and our native music, and so that music was around us. And there was a guy called Sean O'Riordan who was kind of our genius of of a generation, maybe of many generations, who kind of brought the music to the ears of the people who were maybe drifting away from their roots.
Was there a lot of rock and roll?
There was rock and roll. Elvis died when I was 12, and so we got blasted with loads of Elvis. But then there was just what was on the radio. There was like all kinds of music.
What was the first rock and roll song that you first started to play on the piano? Or one of the early ones?
A guy taught me that mode of expression of blues. Kind of thing, just a mode. A mode, you know, a mode is like there's different kinds of modes. The Middle Eastern mode, or a flamenco mode. The blues is. It's a set of notes that your hands can be free to actually express themselves without you deciding what you're going to do.
And you were out as a fairly young guy playing music on the streets of Dublin for tips, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was 15 when I played the whistle on the street, and I made more money in a day than I made in a month selling books door to door as a summer job.
So at that point you said, yep, music, that's the road I should go down.
Penny drops, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, exactly. The freedom of that is incredible.
It's been 30 years this year since the Hot House Flowers released their debut album, which, as I understand it, was the fastest selling debut album in Irish history. How did that change your life?
It sped things up a good deal. It was a chaotic time. The time that came just before that was when we found the freedom through music. I left home I was playing on the streets, and I could see music's own magic working. And then it got a little bit dull because the business kind of closed in. It's the way I tell it anyway. This is the way I tell it, but the way I saw it. Music business closed in, moved in, and tried to stream us. And so while it was very exciting, and we were gigging all the time, part of me had a broken heart, because there is a ruthlessness to the business. It's like a mining company, you know. We're the ore inside the mountain, but we are the mountain. We have the ore inside us, but we're the mountain. And the company doesn't care about the mountain. They'll cut the mountain down. They don't realize you can't cut the mountain down because the gold is in there. It's something like that.
Really interesting metaphor. So music has been part of your life since, sounds like from not much past the time when you could walk and climb onto a bench.
Yeah.
These days, does music still give you joy, still rewarding for you?
Yeah. It's everything. It changes the day for me. I might be a couple of days without doing something musical, and I'll feel brittle. I'll start to feel just a little bit not myself, and I get to play some music, and the wheels turn around again, and I start dreaming again.
I love that description of how when he goes a few days without music, he starts to feel brittle. I've never heard it described in any term even close to that.
I love you guys sitting at the piano, and you know, when somebody can just play like that and have it come to them naturally. What a great interview.
Doesn't it make you wish that you had stuck with music lessons back when you were in elementary school?
Still
it certainly
trying.
Makes me feel that way.
We're going to get you to an instrument one of these days. I'm working on that.
You know, it's even if it happens.
You never
now,
know.
Even if it happens now, there's not going to be any magic to it. I assure you.
Never say never.
I will not make more money in a day of busking than in a month of selling books door to door if I take up an instrument. O Maonlai is going to be performing tomorrow night, St. Patrick's Day, in Deer Isle. The show is at 7 p.m. at St. Brendan the Navigator Episcopal Church.
Kate Schrock and Hank Whitsett will also perform, and Liam will perform a song for us here on 207, coming up in just a few minutes.